This is where we help companies from China, US, and Southeast Asia settle in new markets in China, US, and Southeast Asia. And it's really great because we get there from the first thoughts of their journey and help them all the way through the localization process, which is just fantastic.
A focus on touching lives on both a local and global scale. We always lead with our people. We lead with our core values and our 4-win principle in mind. And in all of the content that we put out on social media, you will always see our colleagues attached to it, and we'll always put a face to the brand.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Business Ninjas. Today I'm here with Chris Ciulla, President of North America and Cross-Border Operations, and Diana Fernandez, Marketing Associate, both at Comrise. Ladies and gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Doing great.
Living the dream every day.
Thanks for spending some time with us here on Business Ninjas. I appreciate it. Chris and Diana, please, either or both of you, tell me a little bit about yourselves and a little bit about Comrise.
Well, I can go first. I'm Chris Ciulla, President of North America Operations and Cross-Border Services for Comrise. I've been in the staffing business for about 25 years. I have a book published back in 2017 that still sells today called We Culture, Engaging and Empower Teams to Drive Results. The premise is that core values drive behavior. And I just really love being at Comrise. And the reason I really love it is because over the past 5 years, I've got to add something to my skill set. We have a global staffing business, which we're going to tell you all about.
Excellent. Diana?
I'm the marketing associate at Comrise, and I came to Comrise in 2021, September, actually. So about a year and a half ago. And one of my biggest focuses is elevating our marketing strategies across a global scale. So that includes the US, China, and Southeast Asia, and just making sure that we can grow our social brand presence on LinkedIn, since that's where we reach the majority of our candidates and clients, and just being as organic as we can with our content.
Excellent. Chris, what's your industry? What niche do you sit in these days?
So we have a business that focuses on domestic markets in the US, China, and Southeast Asia. So we do local staffing for white collar professionals in those 3 markets. We have a second business for RPO, recruiting process outsourcing, which also focuses in those markets, and it does it across borders. Then we have the business we're most proud of, our cross-border business. This is where we help companies from China, US, and Southeast Asia settle in new markets in China, US, and Southeast Asia. And it's really great because we get there from the first thoughts of their journey and help them all the way through the localization process, which is just fantastic.
Excellent. And when you say white collar, any industries in particular?
So I would think that our main focus in verticals is IT, biotech, medical device. When you look at industries, we have banking and finance, we have pharma, and we have a lot of professional services and high-end, high-tech companies. And then we have, of course, our cross-border business. We're helping companies from China and Southeast Asia settle in the United States for our US domestic brand.
Well, obviously you are widespread and certainly not very limited in your scope. What sort of problems does Comrise solve for its clients?
So when you take a look at Comrise, for domestic services in the US, China, and Southeast Asia, we can do contract staffing, we can do direct hire placement, we do executive search, and we do recruiting process outsourcing. Well, and for the audience that doesn't know, recruiting process outsourcing, we own the whole process start to finish. And really our job, we have 2 customers. We have a candidate customer and a client and a company customer, right? For the candidates, the problem we solve is we get a better job than they had before they met us. And for our companies, we get them better talent than they had before they met us.
That's a good equation. Keep everybody happy. It's win-win. All right, I'm going to put your employee on the spot. Diana, what's the origin story of Comrise? How and when did the company start?
So Comrise actually started in the 1990s during the early recession, and there was a huge opportunity for staffing services during this time. So our founder, George Liu, decided that this would be something that he'd be willing to invest his time, his energy, and his money in, with a focus on touching lives on both a local and global scale. And that's exactly what he did, because today we have locations in the US, China, and Southeast Asia. And hopefully Comrise just continues to grow, and yeah, we could expand.
Excellent. And what sort of companies do you guys work with? What's a perfect customer for you?
Well, a perfect customer for us is really any customer in this areas that we service for industry or vertical, or want a customer going global to the US, China, or Southeast Asia that really wants a consultative partner. So a lot of staffing companies, there are many of them out there. And because there are so many of them out there, a lot of companies look at staffing firms who are just like, hey, I need a candidate. They can refer someone to us. But for us, it's truly consultative selling. And if you take a look, even our domestic practices, with unemployment at 3.5%, a lot of the age-old hiring practices that companies follow or that they think have worked in the past will not work now. So the consultative piece really helps a lot. And it also helps because, candidates are all unique. They all have their unique needs and their unique part of their career journey. So it has to be consultative. We're not machining out brake pads,
No.
to a millimeter with a piece of capital equipment. For our global customers, it's really great because we help them really get from that inception of, just imagine the business risk a company's taking if they're in China, the amount of money, the risk to people's careers that they put on the line to come over to the United States. The business culture is completely different. The language is different. Everything's different. The government regulation is different. There's risk to consider. So, we're helping them do this. It's a pretty rewarding part of the process.
Excellent. And kind of leads into my next question. Obviously, the last couple of years have been a great challenge in terms of COVID. I would think that the great resignation / reset, whatever label you want to put on it, would flood the market with talent for you guys. What have the last couple of years have been like? How have the challenges and opportunities helped you grow your company through COVID?
Well, you take a look at it this way, the great resignation, our business is not just tied to economic growth or just unemployment statistic. It's always about what we call churn behind the curtain, right? People changing jobs. So the great resignation did two things. One, it took everybody in the market, over 40% of the population changed jobs during that 18-month period of the great resignation. So yeah, musical chairs, right? So people got up and moved and changed jobs. So that created a huge demand for us, right? It also created unique challenges because candidates held all the cards. Candidates could come to the table to a client with multiple offers in hand, or clients that were used to being in the driver's seat, like larger banks, where they can negotiate offers or, use their corporate sliding scales for salary grades. Those things all had to go out the window because the average increase for people was about 15% during the Great Resignation. If people changed jobs, they were getting between 10 and 15%, sometimes even 20% to change jobs. So all the salary scales really got pushed up and out of whack. And that's why we've seen a net increase in wages right behind the increase in inflation.
And your business has been able to grow through these years with, obviously, it requires flexibility and agility, and you guys have been doing this for a long time. Aside from your deep roots in this industry, what makes you guys stand out from your competition?
Andrew, I really love this question because maybe I'm a little biased, but honestly, I think the thing that makes us stand out so much is our people. So we always lead with our people. We lead with our core values and our 4-win principle in mind. And in all of the content that we put out on social media, you will always see our colleagues attached to it, and we'll always put a face to the brand because we want to build that connection with our audience where they say, hey, I saw this video of Chris tangled up in lights from a holiday message, or they say, I saw Chris next to one of our cross-border colleagues talking about the landing program. So should a potential customer or a candidate feel the need to reach out to us, they are familiar with us and they're comfortable and they can do that. And I like to say what you see is what you get. That high quality content we put out and the high customer service that we have, that's what you're going to get when you work with us.
There were so many
Apparently, Chris, you're going to have to hand out NDAs at your holiday parties next year or something.
Right? And you have to think about it too. It's like when we're advertising and doing our marketing, why do we use our own people, right? And people ask me this all the time, like, hey, why do you do that? So many companies advertise with a standard, showing a standard this high. And then when you experience their service working with their colleagues directly, the service is this high. And there's certain airlines in the airline industry, not all of them, some of them are great, but what they show you in their advertising versus the experience you get is very different. So if we're showing our colleagues in our advertising in action, doing what they do, that high standard that we set in our advertising and social media will be the experience that our candidates and our clients get, and it helps our colleagues win.
Absolutely. I think managing expectations is 90% of almost every relationship, personal or professional. And in a day and age where we meet this way, your website needs to be a living, breathing organism. There has to be human connectivity. People want to trust you. They want to know who they're doing business with. So I appreciate that approach. I think you got to humanize as many of the steps of the journey towards becoming having someone become a client as possible. Diana, what value has content marketing played in the growth of your company?
So content marketing has added tremendous value to our company. We utilize a channel-based strategy. So every month we get together, we plan out a month's worth of content, and all that content's distributed same time, same day, every single week. If we have a social media series that goes out on Thursdays at 11 a.m., our audience knows, set their notification on, and they'll know where to find us. But with that being said, there are a lot of service-oriented businesses that kind of just keep it to what services do we offer, what do we do, and just very cut and dry content. And although we do want to talk about our services, we try to kind of stay away from that in a way. Again, we like to focus on sharing the stories of our candidates. So if we helped a candidate land a job better than the one they had before they met us, or a client who landed a really great candidate for an IT role, we want to focus on sharing those stories and leading with authenticity in everything that we do in our content.
Excellent. Hey, like I said, your website has to be a living, breathing entity. People have to be engaged and educated while they're there. And 1 + 1 = 2, sort of explaining how you do what you do isn't the answer always, right?
Yeah.
So kudos to you for that. All right, switch gears entirely. Chris, what's something you'd like to be celebrating personally or professionally 1 year from now?
Wow. Okay, that's a good question. So, I hope I'm celebrating another anniversary with Comrise this time next year. And the purpose of business is to grow, right? So I hope we hit all our financial goals. But if we hit all our financial goals, I'll know it would be a great thing. It's going to help our candidates win because we're going to get more candidates than we did last year, better jobs than they had before they met us. It's going to help our clients win because we've got more clients, better talent they had before they met us. And if we hit those numbers, our colleagues win. So I hope I'm here with Diana and we're high-fiving it out next year for an anniversary. So that's where I hope we are as an organization, and me personally, that's where I hope I am next year, that I'm high-fiving it out, me and Diana, with the rest of the team.
That's a good answer. A lot of people in the food chain win if that happens, right? And
Yes.
Diana, how about you?
I would say similarly, I would love to be celebrating another anniversary with Comrise. I would really love to continue growing alongside our marketing team and just kind of elevating our brand and learning new strategies, whether it's with our video content creation and just learning more about what our audience loves to see. I love interacting with them. I love the creative side of it. So I just want to keep pushing that on.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, hey, please tell us what is your URL? Where can people find you? And what social media channels are you using these days?
Sure. You can find us at www.comrise.com. And you can also find Comrise on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Excellent.
Don't forget WeChat.
And WeChat
too for our international audience.
Ah, there you go. Well, hey, you got to get the message out, and it is a strong one, and I think people will appreciate where you're coming from. Chris Ciulla and Diana Fernandez of Comrise, thank you for spending some time with us here today on Business Ninjas. I wish you both continued health and success.
Thank
Thank
you,
you for
Andrew.
having us.